Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Whitney Ward.
Well, we are continuing to track the latest developments of the North Spokane death and critical injury to a 5-year-old girl. Yesterday afternoon, Spokane Fire Department found a woman dead in her home, along with a 5-year-old girl who was still alive, but had also been attacked and suffered serious injuries. Spokane police discovered an adult male locked in the garage with the car running. A spokesperson for the police department confirms the child is currently in ICU and still in critical condition. The suspect, who police found in the garage, is at the hospital in stable condition. The identities of the victims and the suspect have not yet been released. SPD says once the suspect is booked into jail, then they will release his name. Our Amanda Rowley has more details for you coming up on KREM 2 News at 5.
Also tonight, one person is dead and 2 are injured after an overnight manhunt in Spokane's Perry district. You may have actually seen the alert on your phone early this morning as Spokane police were looking for a suspect near Liberty Park. It is now safe for residents to leave their homes in that area. Our Brandon T. Jones has the latest.
It was a pretty chaotic morning here in the Perry district this morning. Neighbors woke up to the sounds of helicopters hovering above their homes and a notification on their phone telling them to stay inside. It all started around 1:30 this morning in West Plains when an officer reported that he was shot at. The suspect hopped in his vehicle and fled into Spokane and was located off 9th and Perry. And the SPD K9 unit tracked the suspect and they reported that shots were fired at them in this process as well. Thankfully, no officers were injured and several units assisted with the location of the subject who was found deceased.
Our officers tracked with a K9 unit from that area, which ended up just to the north of us here. And while tracking the subject, our officers were shot at as well.
Major Crimes is now on the scene investigating the situation, but officers did not fire any shots throughout this process. It's still early in the investigation and more details will be released at a later time. But officers did find a suspect who was deceased and are investigating as a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
It will take several hours for the detectives to do the investigation because we have 2 scenes. We have a scene out in West Plains area, and then we have the scene in the city of Spokane, which SPD is responsible for here.
Neighbors I spoke with told me this is unlike their neighborhood. This is a situation where they woke up and were just completely surprised. One neighbor told me that she even got up to lock her doors in the morning.
About 3 o'clock this morning, you could hear helicopters and a bunch of traffic, and then we got a message on our telephone saying, hey, stay inside. We have a armed suspect in your neighborhood. Keep inside and stay low. And you know, I've been awake since about that time trying to figure out what was going on, kind of scared that somebody was going to break into the house.
The perimeter is all secure at this point, and officers said they don't expect any further damage. More investigation will be taking place over the next few hours and details will be released about who this suspect was. From Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
All right, let's turn our attention to weather now. And Tom Sherry, sounds like you are tracking quite a bit of windy weather that could be headed this way. In fact, in some areas it may already be starting.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good winds right now, but the wind advisory in northern Idaho won't start until tomorrow, and also blowing dust out in central Washington. We'll look for lots of sunshine, though, this week, and the weather gets fabulous. By the end of the week, we're into the upper 60s, and by the weekend, we're probably going to see temperatures in the low 70s. There's that blowing dust advisory in effect in central Washington and the lower Columbia Basin, and then across the panhandle of Idaho, including Coeur d'Alene, we've got that wind advisory in effect. Again, that's Tuesday up through 8 in the evening. So right now, we're at 52 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Wind is out of the east-northeast at 17 miles an hour. Expect decreasing clouds this evening. You can see a few of those showers moving from east to west. That normally doesn't go that way. Normally our showers move from west to east, but you can see it right there up in northeastern Washington and into northern Idaho. Some of those are mountain snow showers and then valley rain showers. So here's a look at your day planner forecast. Decreasing clouds this evening, mostly clear and windy overnight with a low of 36. Sunny and windy again tomorrow. Gusts to 40 miles an hour here locally in Spokane and a high of 57. Look at the weekend. Sunshine. 72 on Saturday, 74 on Sunday. I'll have the rest of your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Now that's something to look forward to, Tom. Thank you. Well, counties all across Washington were evaluated today for whether they actually meet the requirements to stay in phase 3 of reopening. Now, here in eastern Washington, we know it's good news for the most part, but not all. Our political reporter Casey Decker has the details now of this big announcement from the governor just this afternoon. Hi, Casey.
Well, hey, Whitney, last week we learned, of course, that in order to be kicked back to phase 2, counties needed to fail both criteria. Now, originally the plan was just that failing one would get you sent back. The criteria, case rate, and hospitalization rate. So how did our area do? Well, Spokane County passed the test, though just barely. Our case rate for this evaluation, 181.2 cases per 100,000 people across a 2-week span. We needed to just keep it under 200, so we're okay there, but pretty close. Our hospitalization rate, however, 6.1 per 100,000 over 1 week, and the target is under 5. So we didn't miss, or we didn't hit that mark, but since we passed one metric, we do get to stay in phase 3. Meanwhile, Whitman County is the one county east of the Cascades that failed both metrics. Their case rate number, a whopping 416, and hospitalizations, 5.9. Neither is very close to passing, so they'll be going back to phase 2. Now, exactly what does that mean? Well, the biggest change arguably applies to indoor dining and shopping. In phase 3, stores, restaurants, gyms, and other venues can let people in up to 50% capacity, but now in Whitman County, that will be just 25% again. Also in phase 3, outdoor social gatherings of up to 50 people are allowed. In phase 2, the max is just 10. However, we should note that within the city of Pullman, the max was actually already lowered to 10 last week because of rising cases there. Now, this change in phases will also tighten restrictions on spectators at sporting events, although Inslee also announced today those restrictions won't be quite as tight as they were under phase 2 in the past. Regardless, it's clear that while Spokane County dodged a bullet for now, Whitman County did not. They'll need to get their numbers down by early May if they want to avoid being booted back to phase 1, let alone hope being allowed back into phase 3. Whitney?
Casey, good update. Thank you very much. Well, as the murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin enters its 3rd week now, there are questions of whether the jury is being sequestered. Up next, we're bringing you answers straight from our Verify team.